This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey, this is SwagDean. It's Destiny Friday. We are messing around with Smash Duos again. This is after the nominations and the votings have gone through. I'm starting to play around in this space. These lists are not final. This art is not final. I'm winging a lot of this, but I'm trying to do with this series. I think I'm going to go through a little bit with the process as I work through them, and then I'm going to be doing some more testing on them. Maybe we'll come back and do kind of a recap on things that maybe changed around, and then we'll publish a final list of the decks. So, since it's the first one of the series, let's recap. Smash is a pick up and play format of Star Wars Destiny. You have 15 card half decks. You jam two of them together. You play the game. Smash Duos doubles that up. We're taking two characters, hybriding them into one character where you get one die of each. So it was people that weren't smashable before, and we make them smashable by jamming them together. And then we have a few more decks to work with. I've nominated a whole bunch for this next phase. This is going to be the final Smash project I'm doing, at least in the FFG space. So this is our last chance for some of these characters, and this is what I'm coming up with. This first one here is one that I feel pretty good about, which is Jyn Saw. So what we're gonna, so we took this version of Jyn and this version of Saw, and we created Jyn Saw, Rebels of the Cause. So it's there's a couple different changes. One, well, the first Jyn, she existed before subtypes were around. Saul had the subtype of leader, and I gave them Scoundrel. There's a reason for that from a card, you'll see in a minute. And this is a version of the Jyn ability from that version card, which is if you discarded a card from your opponent's hand this round, your next yellow event costs one less. So instead of the one you had before, where just the cost of your first yellow event each round is reduced by one, which was a static ability, but then that's why they made her a 15/20. This waters it, makes it conditional. It makes it so it can't do it first. So you have to have done something to cause it. And it's like you have three sides that you can do naturally. What they can discard from the opponent's hand. You also have to choose with the Saw special. You have to choose to not discard from yourself to be able to trigger it. And then the event package I have is not. There's a couple one costers, but I don't have 2s and 3s or anything at the moment. So it's not an amazing payoff, but it is a functional reward for doing it. So Jyn historically has been a mill and kill character. Pretty much every version of Jyn, even into the ARH era, has been a mill and kill thing. So I wanted to honor that. She has the 1 and the 2 discard on her die. Now Saul doesn't have a discard side other than if you use this special to discard a random card from your opponent's hand, and if you deal indirect damage based on the cost of that card. That special is unchanged for this version. So let's get into the event package. Right off the bat, you can say, hey, this is a yellow character. Why do they have a red upgrade? Well, this is a limited format, and it's Jyn's Blaster. And this version of Jyn is more smashable than the red version that didn't have a resource side, that had a bunch of modifiers. This is just better. So I'm just going to give you Jyn Erso's Blaster. It's in the deck. There's one red card. Deal with it. It does have redeploy, but it's 3. And the only thing you can really work to discount it is you can overwrite Unscrupulous. But after you activate the character, reroll the die, or discard the top card of a deck. If it's up on Jyn Erso, you can reroll any number of her character dice. So it's like a little dice fixing, but you can mill from the deck. You can mill from the hand with Saul's special or her sides. Unscrupulous, a scoundrel character only. That's kind of why I gave them scoundrel at the moment. Although I'm leaning into them acting a little bit more like the scoundrelly rebels in this build. But discard a random card from an opponent's hand or force an opponent to lose one resource. So you have some optionality there. And it's also, you have specials. You can get a little special chaining going. But I wanted the mill as a function of the deck to be in there. So these are two ways you do it. So this allows you to mill from the deck. This is another way to mill from the hand. Both of the dice can contribute to that win condition. Although ideally you're probably doing both. Like the mill is more like inconvenient in this version. Raiding Party, I also chose to use. This gives us 2 more discard sides. And it has the guns and it has the indirect. So like it kind of fits all the things this deck is doing. After you activate the support, you may remove 1 resource from a support or upgrade in play and then gain a resource. That bonus ability works decent in Smash just because we use Merchant Freighter a ton. Like a ton of Smash decks have Merchant Freighter. And you can steal from it, which is nice. And stealing from your opponent is kind of a Saul thing to do. But I did not put Merchant Freighter in this deck at the moment to like double down on it. So you can like double rip from your own Merchant Freighter. And it's something that I may revisit in future versions if I find that like their ramp is a problem. Because we do have some expensive stuff in here. If that's an issue, then that would be adding a Merchant Freighter or something to this would be viable. Pirate Speeder Tank is a big thing. So if you chose to do Saul's, like if you whittle your hand down so that you use Saul's ability, you discard yourself, you can throw a Pirate Speeder Tank and you can throw for 5 damage. There's a little bit of like a piratey kind of feel here, which I think is honoring to Saul to some degree, but he's not exactly a pirate. But I kind of have like a mini pirate package. I didn't use Kragan to build a Smash Duos deck, so it's a little bit of like trying to get some of that in there. But this is a card that you would have played in Saul decks back in the day. You were trying to throw speeder tanks and the big falcons and stuff like that at them with his ability. And I wanted to have like a nod to it. But you'll see like the Raiding Party and Pirate Speeder Tank can both stay in play. Jyn Erso's Blaster has redeploy. So like they do have sticky dice at the moment. Like normally indirect is a less efficient way to kill characters. I thought giving them a little bit more sticky dice could be good. There's also a chance you just throw Pirate Speeder Tank or 5 resources might be difficult. So like not having obvious ramp and having kind of split focus if you're doing damage, some of that damage being indirect, and you're also discarding from the hand, that would kind of keep this deck from being overpowered. But obviously in testing that will play out or not. Battlefield, I have to go upside down when I zoom in. Occupied City, after an opponent plays a supporter upgrade, you may discard the top card of their deck. So that's like the mill thing again. It seems fitting with Saul, like you're just disruptive to what they're trying to do. I gave Ensnare as a downgrade. It's kind of a fun downgrade to use. A lot of times these things are only used in like Ewok decks, but I think it fits with like the sabotaging theme we have going. So after their character is activated, you discard this downgrade and you can deal damage to it equal to the number of its character upgrade dice showing damage. So I wanted to have explosive kind of traps, tricks in this deck for Saul. So Laser Tripwire, same thing. Rig Detonation, same thing. We're just blowing stuff up, which just tickles me and makes this deck a little bit more unique. So you can have some big splashes of damage. That damage is often indirect, but you can do that. For your mitigation package, we have Electroshock, pretty basic one. Added Sure Shot, which I think was cool, and it also has Jyn on the art, which is a bonus, and something I do try to do in these Smash decks, kind of leaning into the theme and such. So resolve when your dice showing range damage. We have plenty of those. Then you can remove one of their character upgrade dice, so it's like limited in what it can hit, and you have to have a die, but it's nice. With our threaten, we have another thing where they can remove or be punished. Lost Cat, basic removal, yellow hero. Negotiate, you cost you one of your dice, but you might have one that sucks or unscrupulous, and they have to remove two of theirs, which is a nice one. So you have a lot of conditional removal since you're doing a lot of other nuisance things. I thought that was a way to kind of rein that in. Instigate gives you a little bit of action cheating. Calculate a risk, reroll a die, then if the die is showing a value of 2 or more, you gain a resource. That's the one ramp I put in at the moment, which just felt like I said, going with like the gambling, risky, explosive feel. I thought this was fitting. And then dismantle, like I said, more of that sabotage kind of feel. So if you can spot a yellow character, choose support and play with no mods, which is almost all of them in Smash, and spend resources equal to that support's cost, and you can discard it. So, like I said, this deck doesn't make a ton of money, so this would be an expensive play, but this also can blow up cheap supports. If you want, they put down, it binds all things, something that's going to, tech team, something that's going to ramp them for the rest of the game. You're just like, nope, I'm going to spend one, I'm going to blow it up. And that's the only one you have in your deck, and now you don't have it anymore. Boom. So, this is my first pass on Jinsaw. It has 4 dice. I usually start, I know a lot of times when Andrew was doing Smash back in the day, a lot of times he started at 3. I feel like we've slid into 4, but I always have a mix. So like Unscrupulous is not like a powerful and amazing die. So it's like you have 3 good ones. They all stay in play at the moment. If this is too strong, I will change that. Probably Jin Erso's Blaster will stick because this is the only Smash deck it can go in. But Raiding Party could become, a non-redeploy yellow upgrade or something like that. But I thought it having a modifier, a 1, discardy kind of stuff. This isn't like a super scary die. The ability often won't do anything for you. And Pirate Speeder Tank is a lot of, unless you get a friend who's going to really help you ramp, this is going to be a dream that you're actually more likely to throw at them than play. So that's why I leaned into, I think you're going to want to get Raiding Party down, you're going to want to get the Blaster down. And Scrupulous is a good way to just mess with their hands some more. It's not that expensive. So I feel like that's probably more likely going to happen. Every once in a while you're going to bust out Pirate Speeder Tank, but if you played that, you probably didn't play one of the other ones. Like, I think that works at the moment. But these are the things I can kind of do. There's a decent mitigation package here. If it feels stifling with you blowing up their stuff and hitting their hand and having a decent mitigation package, then that could be watered down. We can give them more. Like I said, a lot of these feel somewhat conditional, which I thought reined it in. But if they feel oppressive, I'll tweak the events, give them stuff that's a little bit more niche or interesting, to change that up. But at the moment, I think this is a pretty fair and balanced build that feels thematic. It has a lot of cards that aren't in Smash a lot or at all. And so it's a worthy addition to the format. Later we'll check back in. This is not necessarily going to be the locked-in art. Eventually Tank is going to make this prettier. He's going to put down the right side, you'll be able to see saws, dice sides. That is AI art I used to do it, just so I can get those two standing next to each other in the art. I'm probably going to do that a bit. I don't know if that's going to be in the final form. It doesn't look super Forrest Whitaker-y. I could try again maybe and see like, hey, this guy's played by Forrest Whitaker. Let's make that show up in the face a little bit more. The Jin's not bad. Maybe a little younger looking. That's not bad. My experiences with AI has been interesting. I'm not particularly artistically talented, so I find it helpful, especially when I'm trying to scour the world. I'm going to try to use existing art when possible, but some of these are going to be more difficult. I already talked about in the video, kind of with all the different ones that have been chosen, like Thrawn is already presenting problems, and some of the other pairings, are going to be a problem. So I'm probably going to have to use things like this. This is me playing around with it, but it's not necessarily the final form. We will see how it goes. If you like this, let me know. If you if you want to hear other things from me about the series, you can feel free to leave a comment or whatever. But if not, I'm going to keep rolling through them. I'm going to do some testing. I did build. So far, I have 7 of the decks that I designed, at least the initial versions. I have built IRL, so I can get some IRL testing in and see how they feel. And Jinsaw is one of the ones I have built, so this is definitely going to get some iteration testing. I have built the ones that are the most frustrating, I think, just inherently the most difficult. So Anakin and Ahsoka, the Thrawn Tarkin are built, and so the ones I think I'm gonna have to test the most are built. So they'll get the most testing time. But some of these, like I say, I feel pretty good about this one. I think this one's gonna work pretty good. It'll be minor tweaks if anything. But I do have those built, so feeling good about it so far. It's been nice to get the chunky dice out and try to sort them and get it, and also find out what my collection is lacking. I am finding that there's definitely things that I don't have any more copies of. It's just we're getting down to the bottom. I'm building like 70 of these Smash decks. It starts to hit your collection pretty hard. I get it. I feel you guys, IRL. I feel it. But thanks for hanging with me. It's Destiny Friday, man. Enjoy the day. Go Commando.